25, 5:30 p.m. Susan, would you please take roll call?
Councillor Halaba?
Present.
Councillor Fossey?
Here.
Councillor Watkey?
Here.
Councillor Varga?
Present.
Councillor Halverson?
Present.
Mayor White?
Here. Okay, council, look for a motion to adopt the agenda. We gonna have one removal. We're gonna take number 4 of Stephanie off, and hopefully we got a few clarifying questions we need answered before we can do anything with that. So hopefully we'll bring that back to the next council meeting. Other than that, look for a motion to adopt the agenda with that removal. Thank you, Jim.
Support.
Thank you, Jet. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Pledge of allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, everybody, and welcome. Public participation, Jen?
Yes, we have one.
Just one. Wow. Vern. Mr. Manor.
Thank you.
Good evening.
When does it start, Jim?
5:31.
Okay. Good evening, Mr. Mayor and Honorable Council. Just when you thought you got rid of me, huh? I'm already back. That didn't take long. I'm here today because this is a new event to make Jim's life easier. You see there's a letter in your agendas, but I just wanted to come and talk about it a little bit. As you probably know, because I've said it a million times, the Chisholm Sportsman's Club is the oldest sportsman's club in the state of Minnesota. And every year we do 2 events, membership drive and fundraising, and that it's a nonprofit, so that all that money goes back to the community. And also we maintain and own the shooting range that's north of town on Hannon Road. And to my knowledge, it's the only shooting range in the state of Minnesota that's open to the public yet. You don't have to be a member; it's open to the public, and we try to keep it that way as a tradition. So, as I said, we do 2 events a year. A lot of our members, like myself, are also members of the ATV club, and a few of our ATV enthusiasts came up with an idea. We should do one more event this year, and I gotta say they're doing a heck of a job going out, getting this thing ready, going out and getting donations for raffles and just setting the whole thing up. So all they asked me to do was to come here and ask for permission, which says in letter to shut down Main Street on that day and get a parade out of town. Nothing that the council hasn't given permission to for other ATV rides, but just this is the first time it's being sponsored with the Chisholm Sportsman's Club, and just wanted to make sure. So August 16th is the ride. I think it says 8 till noon. I think we're going to be leaving a little after 11, but 8 to noon just to make sure. Shut down Main Street, the block in front of Jim's, so we can stage there and get everybody together. And then just been escorted out of town by Chisholm's Finest to make sure we get out of town safely and everybody's safe and secure. The ride goes from here to Highway 5. And then the Sportsman's on Hannon Road for lunch, and then reconvenes back at Jim's at 5 o'clock for raffles and some fun. The raffles are open to the public. You don't have to be just on the ride to join in the raffles. So anybody that's not riding wants to come on down before 5 and around 5, between 5 and 5:30, they'll start pulling all that stuff. So just a good event, trying to have a fun family event for the Sportsman's Club and community. So, Jim, time?
Your time's up.
So, thank you for your time and consideration. Huh?
I can only assume that when you get your finest, you need the fire department.
Absolutely. But look at ambulance. Yeah. And whoever wants to participate in a parade or out of town is fine. But we just need to get out safely. So if y'all want to come in, fire, EMS, city crew, get a loader, Larry, grader, so,
Appreciate it, Vern.
any questions?
Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you.
Good to see you, Vern.
Thank you. Wonderful meeting you. Questions?
Okay, moving on, council reports. Councilor Oliva, good evening.
Evening. I attended the latest PUC meeting and the latest Rams meeting last week.
Good evening.
Good evening. I have no formal report.
Councilor Baki, good evening.
Good evening. I just have one thing, and that is next Wednesday at Jim's, June 4th, is Blue Streak Bingo, the final one for this school year. And so softball was chosen as a beneficiary for this one. So if you like bingo and support the softball team, next Wednesday, 6 o'clock at Jim's.
Hey, Travis. Councilor Varda, good evening. Good evening.
just have two little items. I'm sure the mayor heard from me, the agenda come out, you do mine with me last night. They announced that they are 50% of their target goal for membership, which is pretty good. And they got hand rails installed, like the boost, so now people can actually walk upstairs and move the boost.
Thanks. Thank you, Jim. Councilor Halverson, good evening.
Good evening. Two things. I was at the Red Hat Committee meeting last night. And then last week I was out at the North Rail Repair Site with Larry and the Line Trail Builders.
Excellent. Thank you, Marty. I have no formal report. Ambulance director, Tiffany. John, police chief, Jim. City engineer, Jim.
Thank you, Mayor and members of the council. I'll be even briefer than Vern, which is always the case anyway. So, per the council's request, I would like to introduce you to Matt Este. Matt is the project manager with TNT. Was here on our project last year for last year's project and is the project manager for our current project. And I invited him, his boss actually is watching his son play lacrosse down in Grand Rapids. So Matt is here on the job with us right now, and I asked him if he would just give a short status update on last year's project on 5th Street South. Matt, please.
Good evening, Matt. Welcome.
Thank you. I guess today we pretty much finished everything on our punch list for, Southeast 5th Street. Hopefully hook up temporary water for the new part of the project. And then probably start putting pipe in on Monday, I think. And then I think our punch list we've got the other bit pretty much done.
Sodding is the only thing left on the list. Really isn't bad. They ran out of sod availability last year, so
We filled some holes and seeded and cleaned up the street and pulled all the signs. So yeah.
And the paving got done last week.
Yes. Paving's done last week. It looks good. So
Looks very good.
that's about all I have. Any questions?
No, welcome and thanks for stopping in. I mean, obviously, as the next project starts getting underway, and probably have you guys back for some more updates and just keeping everybody apprised of what's going on and working after that.
Absolutely.
Any questions for Matt while he's here?
Thank you for coming.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Thank
sir.
you. Thank you for your time.
You said he's got crews out still working, so
Yeah.
appreciate it.
Thank you.
Just one compliment to them as well. Yesterday I had an email from a resident on that last year's project that some driveway work needed to be done, some restoration of a driveway, but it was off the alley, not off the street and so forth. And that resident actually sent me an email later today. It says, TNT came out today and did a great job. I recognize some of the crew from last year. Real good group of guys. Thank you to them. So we've got an excellent contractor. They do an excellent job of PR out there for us and treating our citizens with respect and dignity. So we're very fortunate to have them.
Compliments, I few and far between, so it's always good to hear.
It is.
Thank you, Jim.
Thank you.
Got a question for you, Jim. Sorry.
No problem.
So there's a sidewalk on 4th Street, and 2nd Avenue, southwest, that the gas company must have, they did a line this past winter, they put blacktop over the sidewalk, is that gonna get replaced? Concrete?
I will have to check. I don't know. Usually they do restoration. I assume, Larry, that quite often they'll do temporary restoration, then come back when they've got all their work done. So they've got one contractor in town doing it. But
No, the pipeline's been replacing concrete everywhere.
Yeah.
Last week, this week.
Yeah.
Years and a half, just happened last week. Okay, yeah, just check.
Yeah, it could have been done today or.
Yeah. Okay.
thank you for bringing it to our
That
attention.
actually reminds me, when we're done, Jim, let me ask you a question about some pipelines that are being done between 1st and 2nd and 4th Avenue, southwest. I had some people asking about the alley over there, some work going on. So you guys, after
I think they did that earlier this spring too. We were seeing work done in that area.
Yep.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Public Works, Larry. Good evening.
Evening. Thank you, Mayor, Council. It's just a few updates because I don't have anything formal on the agenda. So I'll rattle through these, and if you have any questions, it's very busy. Yeah, the splash pad, that was the biggest thing on Facebook last week, and that I seen the splash pad is operational and ready tomorrow. We're going to start to hit that 80-degree mark again, and the bathrooms are checked out, and the new canopy from the Kiwanis, I believe, was involved along with the chamber and all that, raised the money with the purse bingo. I'm not really into purse bingo. I heard it was a great event.
Check it out next time.
Thank you, Mayor. Appreciate that. And but that was up. I know Shannon's been waiting for that. She's texted me a couple times. So the splash pad will be up for the weekend. We fully intend to have that open for all the kiddos. So, and then all the rest of the seasonal labor start on Monday. So we'll start the patching crew, and we'll have a brushing crew and all that yard restoration from all of our sewer and water digs over the last few months and stuff. So all that starts. All the grass should have its first cut. It takes 2 to keep up with the whole city. If it rains normally, it's been historically dry, which is a nice relief the last few springs. So we're really ahead, and the grass has actually slowed down a little bit, but everything will get its first cut here going into the weekend. If we miss a lot or something, we'll get it on Monday. We'll have 2 staff it's 2 full-time people mowing all day long. So it's a lot, but Chisholm looks beautiful. So it's worth it. Right. And then MnDOT, I don't know a lot about it, but they moved into town today with some equipment. They're doing a 1.5-inch overlay from City Hall here down to the roundabout. So, it's really broken up. It's really alligator crack. There's a lot of planning that goes involved in the next stretch to get redone. And it's like 5 to 7 years out, if my memory serves me. So they know they have to do something to keep up, to seal the road and to keep up the maintenance. So they're doing a 1.5-inch overlay. And that's what I understand. I asked, and I didn't get a lot of feedback. So I just seen them moving equipment in. So you can expect some work there and, a much better ride, improvement. So, they haven't done much there since COVID. So, and, we have, and I'm happy to announce a spring project. The, fairgrounds and Redhead Camping is, new 16 units. It's a joint venture between the Fair Board and the city. And it's open for business, and we're sold out this coming weekend. So looking forward to that. So yeah. Yeah, and we haven't even really blasted yet. We were just going to do a soft opening, and everyone's so busy with Stephanie's stuff and Bridget gone and Mandy's gone, so we haven't had that online, poof of it or whatever. But going into the weekend, we're sold out, and people are talking, and it's looking good. So yeah, you can find that on camplife.com, just like our current campground. So. Going very well. Yeah. Yep. Thank you.
City Attorney Brian. Good evening.
Good evening, Mayor. Nothing formal, but I am happy to answer questions if there are any.
Clerk Treasurer. Doug. Okay, Council, moving on to consent agenda, which consists of a list of bills at council chambers, communications, minutes of previous city council meetings, payroll and overtime. There's no corrections or additions. I would look for a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Thank you, Marty. Thank you, Ted. That was Jim?
I guess I just have a question.
Yeah.
For the, EDA, we never posted what the agenda was. So you kind of really didn't know, when you read through the minutes, you don't even know what they're talking about. So I was wondering if, we could get the agenda that goes with that on page 7.
Sure. Now, is it, is this?
Right. That coincides with the minutes.
You want that each time?
Yeah, cause like in line 1, it's not very clear. I was kind of wondering what that actually meant. Additions or for at name.
Sure. I was looking at, it looks, I do with the other places, it looks like library board minutes doesn't have the agenda, do they?
I'm not sure.
I don't believe the agenda is in the.
No, it doesn't look like it. I say if that's something that you're interested in, can reach out to Susan, she can provide that to you.
Oh.
But yeah, it looks like none of the other ones do either.
But I mean, if the agenda wasn't provided, then I think it needs to be clear in the minutes, I guess.
Oh, sure. Was it the agenda's not on the library board minutes, or the other departments don't have their agendas?
But
Can look
her
at
minutes
that.
are pretty clear.
You want the minutes clear?
Clear, yes.
Okay.
If you're not gonna provide the agenda.
Sure.
I've never ever seen it Zoom like. It's not, is it technically one of the city's boards or commissions, or is it a separate 501? I don't remember, so. The city just really makes it. Mayor, if I may.
Sure.
My recollection of that is that it's a separate entity, not the same as an EDA or library board. But it is something that we could talk to them about supplying some additional information, especially for one assisting in funding.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Any unfinished business? New business. Tiffany, good evening.
Good evening. I am actually not up here asking for money, but asking to apply for grants this time, so that's kind of nice. First, we have Resolution 0525-46. That's application to a Lake County Power Trust. We're looking to get a new CPR device called a Lucas. We're currently down to one functioning Lucas on our 3 ambulances, and that Lucas device normally takes up at least 1 to 2 people. It frees up their hands during a cardiac arrest. So that is expensive but priceless.
Council for motion and support for resolution 0525-47.
I'll make the motion.
Thank you, April. Thank you, Jim.
Okay, one note, Susan, the subject says -47 and the memo says -46. Just so you're just.
Oh, was I looking at the wrong one?
No.
Okay.
The Lake Country Power one is 46.
46, yep. Okay. That's correct on the resolution, so it's not. It's Travis. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
That leads us to 525-47. That's application to the Gary Sinise grant. We are looking to get the new power load system and a new power load cot, and that would be going into the back of the new ambulance too that we are ordering currently. Right now, the cot and power load system that we have to put in that ambulance is about just over 2 times its expected lifespan.
Okay. Council, I look for motion and support for 0525-47.
Your motion?
Thank you, Jed.
Second.
Thank you, Marty. Any further discussion?
Yes.
didn't hear what you said about your back. Supposedly haven't done it yet?
If we do get this power loading cot, it would go in the new ambulance. We're expect to take delivery in the spring of 26.
Oh,
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Okay, fire chief is out this evening, so I'll just run through this quickly. This is the Minnesota Department of Natural Resources Cooperative Fire Protection Agreement. I think this is a little late, but something that usually does come in when you're working with the DNR. It just kind of lays out the mutual aid agreements as far as when we work with them and building services and what they will compensate for. Kind of like if we go out to the state lands and we need to go out and use our equipments and resources and it's something that we can bill for, we'd like to do that.
I'll make the motion.
Thank you, Travis.
I have a question.
Thank you, Jim. Yes, you go.
On page 27, the last line of that agreement, are we up to those standards?
NWCG standards, I believe so. Usually with the NFPA standards, we might fall behind because of our outdated equipment and the cost of replacing it, but everything else runs as it should. If anything is kind of like when we were just up at the Camp House fire, they kind of dictate their level of compensation based on the age of your apparatus. So sometimes that is a factor.
I just didn't know.
Right?
Sign an agreement if we're,
No, we are in line.
we're good. I knew you would know.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, sure. I'm the lowest on the total pool in there, so it's kind of. All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Jim, good evening.
Evening, Mr. Mayor, Council. One item on the agenda tonight, as you all heard from our distinguished public participant. This is a motion just to request a road closure for the 100 block of Lake Street, and then an escort out of town from our wonderful police department and fire and EMS, whoever wants to join, on August 16th, 2025. So just looking for a motion to approve that.
Council? Thank you, April.
Or,
Thank you, Marty. Any further discussion?
Are we doing a festival? Or no?
Yes.
I might as well. Be safe.
Fire City Light Festival, is that a motion?
Yes.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Good catch, Travis. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you, Council.
Hey, Jim.
Thank you, Mayor, members of the council. If you'll turn to page 31, we'll go quickly through the pay application number 2 for the Thomasoni Memorial Arch. And if you go over to the columns under this period where it shows quantity and amount, you'll see where most of the pay items that are included in this pay application, what work was accomplished during that time. You'll see that a great deal of this cost that we're being asked to reimburse is another portion of the mobilization cost. And then primarily, as you see near the bottom, $75,000 for the arch structural steel of $75,000. Such that when you get to the bottom with the other items listed above as well within those two columns in terms of the quantity and the amount, you'll see that the amount due is $129,308, or the amount earned, I should say, for the month is $129,308.50. And as you go down, you'll see below that the 5% retainage of that amounts to $6,465.43, such that the Total payment due is $121,855.07. And I would recommend approval of pay application number 2 in that amount. And I'd be happy to answer any questions if I can.
Council?
I'll make the motion.
Thank you, Travis.
Support.
Thank you, Jed. Just a little discussion, just like to inform everyone at home, this is not coming out of your tax dollars. This is solely fundraised from a group of individuals, and we're just the
We're just the fiscal agent. Yeah, fiscal
And for
agent.
anyone else curious what it's going to look like when it gets finished, be patient.
So I have a question.
Sure.
For mobilization, you're already here.
That gets paid out in segments, Jim. Quite often, they have to, quite often with the first pay application, they'll get 25 to 50%. And then there are certain criteria, percentage of the contractor dollars or something before we pay additional portions of that. So it's paid out in segments. It's not all paid out in front.
You did a wonderful job, Jim. I just want to tell you that.
Is my time up? Is that what you're trying to do?
Oh, my time's up. Fair enough.
All those in favor?
Aye. Good seeing you.
Opposed? Motion carries. Yeah.
Thank you, Mary. If you'll turn to page 33, we've got some very good news with regards. We did receive bids last Wednesday on our reconditioning or our mill and overlay project. We were fearful that the cost might come on where we were only going to be able to do 4th Street. And the cost came in so well that we're hopeful that we can do all 3 segments that we bid and maybe even have a little bit of money left over. Such that if there's something more we need to do or need to reallocate out of that $200,000 budget, we'll have the funds. So what I provided to you on page 33 is each of the bids of the 2 contractors that we did receive. And then if you'll turn back to page 32, I wanted to give you a little bit more breakdown where in that, as you go to the lower portion of the page, you'll see the base bid of, as reflected on the following page that we just looked at, for the base bid of $107,437, and then the cost on add alternate number 1 and add alternate number 2. To that, I added a 15% overhead, which is engineering and fiscal and those types of fees that are typical on a project. This project is certainly more efficient or less costly in terms of overhead. Usually we're at 20 to 25%. But with the reconditioning, it takes less cost in the terms of plans and specifications and inspection. And then as we presented before in the public informational and public hearings on this project, the estimated assessment revenues, such that you see the estimated net cost to the city. And that's where, as you get to that bottom right-hand corner, you see that estimated net cost to the city is just under $167,000. So we're hopeful we've got about a $33,000 savings there. So with that, I would be happy to answer any questions you might have, but I would recommend award of this contract per resolution 0525-48 to KGM Contractors of Angora in the amount of $199,906.50. Thank you.
Full of good news.
I will happily make this motion.
Thank you, Travis.
Second.
Thank you, Jed. Any further discussion?
Are these the only 2 that you got?
Yes. I think we, Jim, if I remember right, I think the plan holders list when we received bids last week. Larry, do you remember, did we have 4 or 6 contractors that actually took out plans and specs, but we received only 2 bids? You're welcome. Thank you.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Devin.
I have St. Louis County Fire contract for the unorganized township on page 36. And on page 37, I basically made a chart of the previous 4 years and how much we've increased. They are requesting that we supply our increase in advance and provide them an explanation for any increase. The consumer price index is roughly like 2.5% to 3%. So I would recommend at least that to maintain. And I know our fire equipment's getting older, and we've discussed the need for new equipment. So I think that would be justification to go higher, and maybe that was a justification of going higher in previous years.
Thank you, Devin, and appreciate the way you laid it out for us here. In my opinion, I'd probably look to either ask to keep it at the same 7% increase. We did just give a pay bump for the firefighters, so that increases cost, and our equipment is getting older, and I think even our second out, our first out engine is beyond its FDA standard life, and our engine 2 is well beyond that. So our tenders are about the same. So the tenders are what goes out there. That's something that we need to start looking at.
I agree with Mayor. I was looking at that as well. And I want to thank them for doing that. That was great.
Absolutely.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
I like to make that motion.
Thank you, April. 7%. Is there support? Support. Thank you, Jim. Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Devin. You're going to grab the next ones.
Yeah, I definitely can. Sorry, I forgot to mention that earlier. So page 39 is resolution number 0525-49 authorizing the purchase of land. The resident of this parcel owns property adjacent to the property that we acquired from the land exchange, the school district. And he's offering it at $6,200, so we can basically increase that land mass for future development.
If anyone has any questions, this is the set of property right behind the current public works building there on off the 5th, where there's like 3 parcels there. And I believe the plan would be to use those for future housing developments. Now, this, we talked about this quite a while ago, but there were some issues. So it'd be 5th and 1st Northeast. Is that right? Or that's,
Yeah, there's some, I put that the little station there.
This is all.
Like,
Southeast.
So this is
school
for
property.
school.
Where the new lift station is.
Oh, that's
It's not the guy owned.
But this is
Yeah,
the
the
property.
school property is about 170 gone this year, so then that was part of the last one, but the city acquired that lot.
Well, I need some. more.
Jim, do you want to explain the land swap and the lot
Yeah.
that the school owned?
Yeah, because
That
I went on
came with
that.
the swap, please.
Yeah. Help me understand this better.
When
This is the parcel that is, right here under the 840, right there. The city owns this already.
yes, that's the school property that was involved in the exchange of property between the school district and the city. And that's where, I think the frontage is on that parcel is like 137.5 feet or something like that. And this is the next parcel west of that, which is a vacant lot just immediately east of Lyndon's house.
Right.
And, we were encouraging, Stephanie and I met with Bob Streeter as well as with Mr. Hurd to see if he was interested in us acquiring it, and he was. And as a result, when we were putting in the service stubs, and working with Bob Streeter as to what type of housing might be in there, I think we've got 3 or 4 sets of service stubs into that whole frontage above. Now it'd be about 187 feet.
I mean, I'm not opposed. I think you
No.
should buy that, but I was just trying to figure out what the land swap, like what parcels were there.
That was included in the whole,
The athletic fields.
Yeah.
That was all included.
So that's, the land swap was like the dirt road that was in there, like that old little U that went around the backside of the
It's
public
right
works.
Mr. Mayor, if I may, I don't have the specific parcels, but basically what happened is, my understanding of it is when we were talking about the land swap, part of what the school brought to us, or part of the message that the school conveyed is that, through people donating to them or bequests that they've received through different estates, they just kind of had some random properties throughout town. And the city was in a better position to develop or make economic use of those parcels, and it gave some value in the exchange for the athletic fields. And so we ended up with a handful of just a kind of a smattering of isolated parcels throughout town.
And some are transferred and some aren't.
They should all
Should all be recorded, I
Yeah,
believe.
they came in two separate instruments, so I'll double check on that, but they should all be coming through.
And that actually helped us because we put the lift station right down in that extreme southeast corner of that property. So we don't have to get an easement. If we sell off those parcels for development, we'll retain a permanent utilities, and it made it very easy for us to place the lift station at that location.
And maybe St. Louis County didn't update their site yet.
That could well be.
No, me
You know?
and Stephanie had that conversation.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
because she noticed the same thing.
Thank you, guys.
Okay, council, I look for a motion and support for resolution 0525-49.
I'll make a motion.
Thank you, Travis. Or, thank you, Jim. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
The next item is on page 41. This is the amendment to the independent contractor, Eric Carlson maintenance agreement. He came in, I believe he has access to some equipment to basically better utilize his time, is my understanding. So this contract, we are committed to $25,000 of trail maintenance, and the previous contract, that $25,000 was all made up of labor. But I think his idea is that he can utilize equipment along with labor to get more projects done, and it'll probably eat up that $25,000 quicker, but it'll probably get more done. So we still have the cap at the $25,000, but he just wanted to update the contract. So basically, we're paying additional money per hour while he's utilizing the equipment.
Okay. Yeah, different class of work. So. Hey, council, I'll look for a motion and support to approve the amendment to independent contractor Eric Carlson's maintenance agreement. I'll make a motion. Thank you, Marty. Support. Thank you, Travis. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Then on page 46 is the revised change order number 1 for American Ramp Company. At the previous meeting, there was $1 amount that was that excluded the design cost of $9,000. So this change order just includes that. So on page 47, there's the original contract. This one says $64,000, and the previous meeting it said $631,000. So that was the only update to this contract change order.
You Devin, and this still falls under. Correct.
Yes.
Hey, council, I'll look for a motion to approve change order number 1 for American Ramp Company. Make a motion. Thank you, Marty. Support. Thank you, Jeff. Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. All right, council, sponsor request for the Arrowhead Transit Road EO. Yep, no, absolutely. Very clever play on words. Okay, Brian? I got it. So, does this fall in where we can use our funds? Oh. Never you know at all. I just want to say, just one thing, as a, while you're thinking about that, or you're looking, I think it's, when you advertise, you're letting everybody else know that you're willing to donate money. So that's one thing that you do when you sponsor these events. The other people look at it and they say, okay, I know who to go to. So the more we do, the more requests we're actually getting. If we are able to do this, I think a small sponsorship would be all right, because if this is as big as they are actually saying, there should be a lot of people coming through. So kind of like what we did with the school, if we were able to utilize and advertise the Redhead and Iron Shell Campground, I wouldn't argue against that, but I definitely wouldn't be looking at probably 4 types of sponsorships.
And Mayor, this is one of those, we wouldn't be able to just donate public funds. We could make a donation out of our charitable gambling account.
That's what I think.
That would be all right. In the past, I know there is a public purpose, so it would satisfy a public purpose requirement if we're strictly advertising, but that line gets a little bit gray for me, and I would also get the input from Mrs. Siegler, but I would think that the charitable gambling account would probably be the way to go.
Yeah, well, obviously, everybody's so lots, terms of transits, I know 501c3s, but yeah.
I don't have any objection to their, I'm happy for them. It sounds like something maybe neat to see, but I would be a no. I would go no.
Same. It's only a 2-day event.
If you wanted to, $250. I'm sure.
Mr. Mayor, I'd be okay with the 250. I think we should get our name out there more, and we want to promote that Redhead, so it's kind of
$250 is cheap advertising.
Yep.
Opinions, council, and that have a motion.
I'm for
Or the charitable gambling fund. Thank you, Jim.
I'll second.
Thank you, Judd. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
Okay, we need a roll call.
Probably would be best.
Susan, would you please take a roll call?
Counselor Howard?
Aye.
Counselor Buckley?
No.
Counselor Rafi?
No.
Counselor Garvey? Aye.
That was cute.
It's just combined our last names.
Aye.
Mayor,
Aye. Okay. Motion carries. Anything under miscellaneous?
Everyone, Mr. Mayor, do we have an update from the film company that's been downstairs using their facility? We're gonna have an update from them.
I don't think we have an update, but we sure should have one. I was gone at the working session, when we discussed, what the future holds and, Sure. Oh, you do. Okay.
I did have a meeting with them today. So they are coming to town. They're going to start shooting a film at the beginning of June through July, and they basically gave me their timeline. So since Stephanie was out, I basically, made a list of questions and everything. So I'm going to go over that with her. As far as payment for rent and stuff, they haven't been paying rent. They have been over the winter. I'd have to look at the dollar amounts, but they have covered some gas bills. But that's about as far as I know. So they're going to be in town. They had made some requests about renting the fire hall. It doesn't sound like it's any blockbuster film, but it's something. I think they were planning on having 29 staff in the next month in the city. But obviously that's just very recent news to me because I just had the meeting today. But I'll know more going forward.
Is that by chance, anything with the film that was mentioned in the newspaper today?
I'm not sure. It probably could be because it sounded like they said they're 99.9% they are coming, and they have a timeline and everything.
Yeah, so I mean, I think a working session in August is probably, once they wrap that up, should be
Susan, can you also make note when we do have that working session to add the Reddit to that? Yeah, with the joint powers agreement.
Nothing else? I'll look for a motion to adjourn. Motion. Thank you, Jim. Second. Thank you, Marty. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Good night, everybody.